Good morning. Good morning. Anybody here? Can y'all hear me? Let me finish getting set up while we are waiting. TMFJ got the fire emojis already. Shout out to you. The constant support and uplifting messages. Hold on, let me check my other device. Y'all know my whole digital situation is like DIY. Do it, DIY, do it yourself. So, and I don't have my amazing team because they are on, it's the weekend and nobody's working on the weekend. This isn't work right now. We're doing this together. Hold on. Let me see. Let me double check. Are we here? Hold on. Let me refresh the page. Oh, I see Hamster there. Okay. I see TT Scorpio. All right. Now, hold on. There's something else I got to fix because what I have not figured out yet how to do is tell y'all when I'm going live and then go live through StreamYard via that stream. So that's a challenge. That's a challenge. Hold on. So y'all think there's two lives happening. There's not, although it looks like it. One of them is just my fake. I'm going live at about this time. And then the other one is this actual one. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Hope y'all are well. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, well, hold on. We already got, is that the troll? This person who just put a whole lot of text in the chat. You got a very similar name to a troll we had before. We're not doing that today. We're not doing that today. Let's see. Do I have to block somebody already? Stressed out already, chat. It's early. How are you stressing already? I'm gonna wait and see. I think it might be. Let me get my block hand ready. Hold on. How do I block you in? Yes. Okay. Ban and user. All right. So you don't mess up now. Make sure the text you putting in is some good information. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? Everybody all right? Everybody doing okay? Jesus. No. Oh, no. You got to go. I see you. You got to go. Okay. So hold on. Ban user and delete their comments. Boom. I love it when I understand how to block a troll. You got to bob and weave with the trolls. You got to bob and weave. All right. Hi. How are y'all doing? You may not have your team, but you have my support. Thank you, Sassy Evans. I appreciate you. My team, they need to rest. They do a lot of work. They do a lot of amazing good work. And yes, I appreciate them, but they do need to rest. But I appreciate y'all joining as well. This is our third time doing this, second time doing this. I have lost count. No, it is our third time doing this. The first time it was not on StreamYard. That's what it was. First time was not on StreamYard. So I didn't have anybody joining me in the chat, and it was me sort of introducing myself. So this is our third time we're having this conversation, or a conversation time. Hello, Kenyatta. Good morning, my melanated brothers and sisters. Good morning, my righteous friend. Shout out to the righteous. Y'all got more work to do. We appreciate your work, but you keep it going. All right, so let me see. Just tell y'all a little bit about how this weekend has been going so far before I drop this link in. I am tired already, and my eyes are watering because I was actually outside this morning because I was talking about this on my show this week. I'm working on my yard, right? So I love being outside. I love nature. I love like all of it, but it runs like it's doing a job on me as it pertains to allergies this year. But I'm in like the dirt because I'm realizing that our grass is kind of patchy. So I was outside. We were turning the dirt, getting the soil ready. We're about to reseed some areas. I'm doing this whole wildflower situation. I don't know if y'all. I know some of y'all have very well manicured lawns. We like got our roots in Brooklyn, and we don't have big lawns in Brooklyn, at least not in the part of Brooklyn that I lived in. And so now that we're in a space that's got an actual lawn, an actual yard, like I'm trying to be out in them grassy streets. I'm trying to be out in them streets because like that's one of the reasons why like we're out there. Oh, Karen, my shoulder feels much better. I was saying on the show, I've got this aerator, but the aerator I should have gotten one that was more motorized because the one I got was all manual. And so I like didn't stick it in the ground, but you got to turn it. And what was the sound I used to describe on air? I was like, jigga, jigga, jigga. Like you're jigga, jigga, jigga in the dirt. And so I messed up my shoulder, but it's fine. I put some of the CBD cream, Dr. Damas's Reliever. Yeah, I know that's my favorite CBD cream. That Reliever is dope. So I put that on the shoulder, so I'm good. So I know that sometimes people have very well manicured lawns, and I think that's great and amazing. But I've been reading a lot about the bees, right? It's about to be some granola girl type stuff. Just go with me for a second. The bees do not have enough flowers to help them pollinate, and whatever's in the air in terms of like satellite, I don't know what, something is happening with the bees. And like beekeepers are talking about like up to 60, 70, someone has said like up to 80% of their beehives are collapsing. And if you don't have bees, just for people who don't know, and I'm not a nature expert, I just know a little things because I spend a whole lot of time on discovery and like reading a whole lot of stuff because I like to read. And bees, like they need plants that will help them to pollinate. And as they fly from plant to plant, from flower to flower, they basically are then able to spread pollination. And that's how like life on the earth survives, because you need pollination so things can grow. And because if things don't grow, then we don't have food to eat, because we eat things that grow, even if we buy it in the store and it's in a package. So I'm doing, instead of a highly manicured lawn, or we're going to have a lawn, but also I've been thinking about not mowing the lawn as much. Like our son mows the lawn every week. I'm kind of like, maybe we should go a little longer, because there's a lot of studies that talk about how the fact that Americans over manicure our lawns, to the extent you are privileged enough to have one, it's a privilege. I ain't, saying, I'm just having a conversation. Then like we mow our lawns so much that there's not enough time for like the earth to get the benefit out of the growing grass, whatever. I don't know about that, but I'm going with wildflowers. So I'm going to have like in the front of the house, like on the two sides of the porch, we're going to have wildflowers. And I'm not like doing like a pot of wildflowers here and a pot of wildflowers there, and we're going to have some over here. No, it's just going, we have an area and we're spreading the seeds, and I'm just going to see what happens. Just going to see what happens. All right, let's see what some of y'all are doing. Oh, zinnias. I don't know how to pronounce that. Wild gardens. Yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see. Zinnias, I think is how you say it. They're way to go. They're very easy to maintain. I do need something easy to maintain. And thank God my mother is here, because she is a plant goddess. Like she has this impact on plants like she does on my hair. My mom used to be a hairstylist, a cosmetologist, sister loctician, natural hairstylist, everything. She is now retired, but she lives with us. So the hair be hairing because of her. And like the gardens, the plants in the house, oh my God. She's amazing. She's amazing. All right. So I have talked lots of dandelions. Y'all know I love my dandelions. Those of y'all who are listening on Urban View, I love dandelions. I think they are a metaphor for living, for life, and the fact that they are considered weeds and we often discard them. But dandelion leaves are so healthy for you. Like if you make a tea out of them, they are extremely healthy for you. And then they turn into that puff. And you get to have wishes, and you blow the wish. Like what kind of it's a beautiful plant. It's a beautiful plant. All right. So let's see. Let me drop the link. How do I share the link? I don't want to share my screen. I want to invite. Oh yes. Invite guest. Let me see. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and then we'll see who wants to come on in. And y'all, please like and subscribe. Do all the things. Thank you all to those of you who are also liking and sharing the podcast. I appreciate that. Larry Breaks It Down it's where I get to do what I do on air every day at SiriusXM, but without the pressure of the time constraints. Even though the podcast, the idea is to not ever have an episode longer than 30 minutes. I've already failed at that at least twice, but the idea is to not have anybody listening to a podcast episode of mine that's longer than 30 minutes. It's supposed to be short, sweet, and to the point. But it's where I don't have to, I'm not thinking about people calling in, because when you're doing a national talk show, people call in, or there's other things that are happening. There's like live news feeds that's happening at the same time. And so when I'm doing the live show, it's like I'm constantly paying attention to 5 million different things. I never get through all the things that I want to get through. The podcast, Larry Breaks It Down, I feel like, okay, let me break all the points out. Here's what I needed to add to this. Here's what I need to add to that. So yeah, so I like it. All right. Ain't nobody coming on screen. I'm only doing this because we said we liked what happened the last time, and we wanted to have more conversation. Thank you, Amsterdam. They said, I love Larry Breaks It Down. Thank you. TMFJ said the same. Listen, anywhere you can get your podcast, Larry Breaks It Down, Spotify, Apple, anywhere, all the other places that you get your podcast, you can do so. Let's see. Y'all hitting the like button, but nobody's joining me on screen. Oh, okay. We got somebody. Hold on. Oh, a couple folks. All right. Hold on now. All right. Jackie, you ready? I see you. We are welcoming Jackie. Can I be on? I can't be on screen till I retie my micro lock. Girl, why don't you retie your micro locks on screen? We should have a hair session. We should have a hair session where we're doing our hair on screen together. I would love that. All right. So hold on. We have Jackie on the stage. Hi, Jackie. Good morning. Can you hear me? We can see you, but I don't see your lips moving, so I don't know if you're saying it.
I'm at work. I am really at work.
Now, Jackie, you how,
I'm at work,
where you work? Why you get on the screen if you at work?
but I always like to tune in when I can.
Oh, I appreciate you. I
And I
appreciate
just clicked on this. I just clicked on this. This came up.
you. You came up. Well, I appreciate you being brave enough to click the link, but I also don't want you to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Your boss ain't gonna like you playing on YouTube with me. They said, Jackie, you sneak it in. You sneak it in. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Don't get fired. You look like is that a medical uniform? It looks something medical. Like scrubs. Okay, I gotta
Okay.
you got a
Bye,
patient.
everybody.
Oh, bye. I was about to say you got a patient. You take care. I don't know. I'm thirsty. All right, respect to Jackie. Jackie, go in when you can. I appreciate it. Jackie was sneaking in. Yes. Anthony, thank you for that comment. I appreciate you. Adna, you said your roots are like an afro. It's been 3 months. Okay, so 3 months is a long time, I think, for a lot of people to get their locks retied. But I mean, I'm sure you had a good reason. And hair is hair. So I'm not one of those. I actually prefer when my locks need to be retied. I'm going to be due for a retie in about 10 days. Yes, because I just saw it on my calendar. But I prefer it when the roots are fresh, or not fresh. I prefer it when the roots are there's a lot of new growth. That's the look that I like because it sticks up. All right, Elsie, what did you say? California fresh farm foods. Oh, 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 you're suggesting fruits that we should be planting. So she said, okay, Elsie says California fresh food farms features quail eggs and microgreens, which will expand beehives. Time for more pennies. I don't know what that means, Elsie. I thought I knew what it means, but I don't think I know what that means. What kind of tea am I drinking? This is actually just lemon water, but the mug it's got, I don't know if you can see. It's literally just lemon water, but the mug is a golden yellow. This is a part of the it's hard to see with the way the screen is, but this is, if you can see, it says moment of gratitude. I'm trying to also not drop it. It's my little logo, and it says moment of gratitude under here. But the handle is yellow and the interior is yellow. So it looks like a fancy drink. It's just lemon water. It's just lemon water. That's all. Yes, all natural. And I'm drinking lemon water because it's the morning, and I just find that that's one of the best things for you to drink. Thank you. I appreciate you, Michael, for being a huge fan of the show. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Oh, yes. And you can get the mug on my website, LarieDanielFavors.com. I do sell the mugs. And I sell sweatshirts. I had a t-shirt line that's about to drop, but then when the tariff started happening, I was like, I want people to save their money. I don't really want y'all. Is it made in China? Probably. I mean, what is not made in China? I would imagine, Ken, it is definitely, I mean, it ain't made in Brooklyn. I can tell you that. It's not made in Brooklyn. Some fruits can't be grown in certain parts of the U.S. That is true. Although, responding to you, Regina, that is true. Although my mom and I are talking about getting a lemon tree in the house with a sunlight. I don't know if it's gonna work, but that's what we're trying to do. I drink lemons every day. Hot lemon water. I love hot lemon water. I drink it every single day. And in fact, when y'all hear me on the show and the frogs be out, because y'all, if I'm on the show and I have to clear my throat a lot, I played a clip of "Let Me Clear My Throat," or Amina plays that. But when the frogs are out, because I did not drink my lemon water, or I drank my lemon water and I drank coffee with dairy in it, and so yeah, it's a thing. It's a whole thing. All right, so we got somebody else. Antoine, hi.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. It's a little echo. I hope.
It's a little echo. At some point, I'm going to beef up my studio, my home studio space. I don't hear an echo when you talk. Do you hear an
Okay,
echo when I talk?
there we go.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually here in DC.
Okay.
I work for the federal government,
Oh,
so I figure
are you blink twice if you need help?
I would chime in and give a little perspective from the federal government side. Um, Hold on one second.
All right, I just turned off a fan. I had a fan blowing. That might have been part of what contributed to your echo. Yeah, talk to us. What is it? What's happening over there? How are you doing?
It's absolutely insane.
Oh my God.
The agency that I work for, we're a smaller agency, and we have a 5-year rule. So we have a natural attrition. So when it comes to the reduction in force, we've been able to escape a lot of that, but it's coming. But over the course of the last 5 years since the pandemic, I took that time to invest in myself. So I became a hypnotist, a life coach,
You
and
said a hypnotherapist?
a hypnotist. Yep.
You've become a hypnotist, or you've begun seeing a hypnotist?
No, well, I'm a consultant hypnotist.
Wow.
So, and a life coach. And I was really preparing myself for ultimately leaving my 9 to 5. It's just that uh, it's come in a different way than I was prepared for. So I just want to encourage everybody to find some way of making your own money, being independent. Um, whatever hustle you got, whether selling mixtapes or Avon or yoga or whatever it is, I think the times have kind of highlighted the need to be able to be self-sufficient, self-sustainable, uh, learning how to grow your own vegetables, because the systems that we were conditioned to rely on, as you can see, um, they are not reliable. So invest back in our community, invest back in yourself.
I love the return to self-reliance that I think a lot of people are experiencing right now. It's been really interesting too, because when you're watching your society crumble from the inside, like I would anticipate there being a lot of fear. And I do have moments where I'm afraid, but I also feel like for the past several years, the work, and I don't know, Antoine, how long you've been listening to the show, or if you're solely more from the YouTube side, but we've been having so many conversations about the need to stay ready that I feel like an interesting sense of calm, because like I'm in the continuation. I'm not starting to get ready right now. And I love what you said about like your side hustle, like thinking about how you can monetize and make additional resources. And I think that is so important. And these are conversations we're having even within my household and with my family and whatnot. But I'm curious as to your decision to, and I think I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. I think I heard you say a hypnotist, as in
That's
someone.
right.
So can you talk to us, because that's not typically like when somebody says like make additional resources and contribute to the community in a way. Hypnosis is not typically at the top of the list. What was it that attracted you to that area?
A lot of it had to do with it complemented the spiritual work that I do. So the type of life coaching I do spiritual life coaching. So traditional life coaching, it focuses on goals. It's very goal oriented. Um, Spiritual work, it's more so focused on your internal work that you need to do in order to be able to carry out the things that you like to do. And the way that I got into hypnosis, I was dealing with claustrophobia at one point. I found this hypnotist on Groupon of all places, and she was able to help me to rectify the situation. And she knew the life coaching work I was doing, and she said, "Hey, are you interested in exploring this field?" And I saw how that it could complement the work I was doing already, and the ways in which that I could help people with trauma, whether it be weight loss, smoking, anxiety, stress, the whole nine. And I saw the vision of how I can continue living in my purpose, helping people that may not be aware that there are other options available than going at this life and this economy or whatever you're dealing with unequipped. And surprisingly enough, my whole cohort of classmates, all persons of color. So we're starting to make an impact on that industry as well, and people aren't aware. So
Wow. Well, you have learned us something today. I was today years old when I knew that this was a field that had that level of viability, and that we were present in that space. So shout out to you.
yes,
Somebody in the chat said they're not getting on another. Oh, you know what? I misread it. I thought they said they weren't getting on another plane. I thought they meant a plane of hypnosis, but I
yeah,
think they might also mean like an actual whole ass airplane. Me on that latter one. So if just in a nutshell, because I know nothing about hypnosis.
mhm,
Not true. I used hypnotherapy as part of my. There's this program called hypnobirthing
Right.
that I used with when I was pregnant. Actually, it was a part of so y'all know you have Lamaze. There's a lot of different methods of preparing one's body, mind, and soul for the process of birthing and hypnobirthing. So I shouldn't say I don't know anything about it, because I as soon as I said, I was like, oh wait, no, I think that might actually have a little bit of familiarity with it. But for people who don't, who have no idea like what it is, how it functions, can you give us like just one or two top line things that the average person who knows nothing about hypnosis should know about hypnosis if they wanted to explore that as a possible area of self-growth and enhancement?
Absolutely. So first of all, there are a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis. It's been sensationalized, in TV and everywhere else. When I mention it, people are like, "Ooh, what spiritual stuff does that involve?" And really, what it is, it started ages ago as a medical practice because they didn't have anesthesia for the procedures that they were doing.
Wow.
So they figured out this method where they could put people in deep trance to where they don't feel the pain. For example, and hypnosis is basically putting you in trance, going into your subconscious and replacing the old story, or whatever it is you want to change with whatever it is that you tell me that you want to put in there. So we say that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis because you're the one that's telling me what it is that you want to swap out. So when you get into that situation, say for example, it's overeating, and typically you would reach for a piece of cake. What would happen is instead of in your subconscious it triggering that piece of cake, if you're telling me that you want it to trigger fruits and vegetables, that's what it would pull on.
Wow.
If it's fear of being in confined spaces, um, we would go in and create this picture of you feeling safe and all of these other things. So think of your subconscious as a repository of stories of what you've been conditioned to believe, and that's what gets pulled on in different situations. So I'll give you another example. Like I'm working with a friend now that has debilitating back pain. So what I'm doing is I go in and change the pain to a tingling feeling because your body still needs to alert you that there's something wrong, but as opposed to it pulling on that pain, your brain signals that, oh, I'm in pain. It'll be a tingling feeling instead because all of it starts in your brain.
Okay, so that's dope. I'm learning this for the first time, but it reminds me of a much quicker way of accomplishing what happens when you chant or meditate and get into a trance. So it almost feels like a warp speed version of that same practice. I did not know that it was something that had its roots in medicinal practices to alleviate pain in the body, which lets you know a lot about the mind-body connection, which apparently we know far less about than our ancestors did.
Yeah. My dental office, for example, I was talking to my dentist and he said, yeah, we're trained in hypnosis for situations where people can't use anesthesia. So there are times where we'll have to employ this method to sedate them to a point where this is unbearable. And I've been able to get some potential opportunities with different medical offices, for example, with that kind of experience, because that's something that's leveraged, to your point, as a shortcut. It's a life hack in a way. For people that really don't want to deal with the emotional connection to things. It's a shortcut to change the story for them, to give them an opportunity to go about life equipped with what they need without the baggage.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Well, you done learned us something today. If somebody, I feel like I'm back on air, live on air. If somebody wanted to follow up with you or connect with you, since we're all meeting you for the first time, do you have a website? Where would they go to try to get more information from you about the work that you do?
I'm going to drop my information in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. But can you say it too? Because if people don't want to scroll, like people, I'm going to leave. I've been leaving the lives up. So somebody's watching it may actually want to just hear it. Can you say it as well?
Yeah. So you can email me at Ajna, AJNA ajna360@gmail.com.
AJNA360.
Or you can hit me up on Instagram, shotglass1914.
That's you, Shot Glass 1914.
I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
Hit me up on
And my D9 brother. Antoine, thank you. My brother is a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
right. One more thing. I gave you the suggestion for the offerings a couple of weeks ago. You had asked for maybe different ideas for the membership program. And I suggested leveraging maybe practitioners in the field of, healing. And I didn't get to finish the other part of what the gift could be. Whomever is presenting, maybe the gift is that you get a session with them or something like that. So I got all kind of ideas.
So I love that idea. The challenge is I have way too many things to do. So if I would, and that was why I decided I'm not even doing at this point. I'm like, listen, I got to get my 6th grader to the end of 6th grade. My 12th grader got to get through 12th grade. Me and my husband so I'm like, I don't have time in addition to the show and the podcast and my actual real job. My real job being a lawyer, running a law center. Shout out to Medgar Evers College. So I felt like simplicity was best. And somebody, when I talked in the first episode or the first conversation, I'd mentioned the idea of having membership. And somebody in the comments was like, why? Like, just keep it. Like, we don't have to monetize everything. I was like, you know what? You sure are right. You are so right. Like, why? We don't have to gatekeep and create barriers. But the idea is to spread as much information as possible. So YouTube has a capacity where if you want to contribute, you can. But we good.
All right.
We good. We good. So
y'all hit me up. If you yourself want to experience hypnosis, let me know. I follow you on Instagram. I love the work you're doing. Keep going.
I will say this: hypnobirthing worked. That worked. I'm not gonna say it was a pain-free birth because it was not. But the hypnobirth, whoo, baby, that worked. That worked.
That sounds like a testimony to me.
Yeah. But I'm a woo kind of person. So I don't have no problem blending all the practices. I know that scares some people, but I'm cool with it. Antoine, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's see. We're gonna have somebody else come in. Let's see. Okay, Kina. Hello.
Hi.
Of your sweater. Hi.
Oh, don't judge me. It is Disney.
Oh no, I just love I didn't know what it was. I just love the colors.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting for me to talk to you directly because I watch you as much as possible. I actually left the States. I live in Spain now. Yes. I've been here for 2.5 years now. And people, friends, families, everybody I left behind, they're like, how did you know? And I didn't, but it all worked out just fine.
So what was the motivation I'm assuming you're from somewhere in these United States.
Yeah, I'm from Florida.
You're from Florida. I mean, I could understand why one might want to leave Florida. Sorry for everything. I love y'all, but y'all got some crazy leadership right now. But what made you decide to leave and what made you decide to go to Spain?
After my mom passed, she passed in 2017. So after my mom passed, the ties to the US were a lot looser. I actually met my husband. He's from Spain. And we lived there back in 2003 when we got married. But I needed to come back to the States after my daughter was born. And that was to be close to my mom. And once she passed, it didn't matter anymore. So it was time to get him close to his family.
Somebody in the chat said you sound relaxed and joyful.
That's my calm voice. That's how I sound all the time. I used to work for Tesla and I sounded like this as a store leader under all that Elon stress.
I bet you got stories for days, child.
Yeah, horrible ones, but yeah.
Do you have an NDA before I ask you anything else? Are you subjected to a non-disclosure agreement? Because we ain't trying to mess up your situation.
Absolutely 100%. So okay, so I talk as much as I can, but I don't talk too much.
Well, we got plenty of news out there. We don't need to expose you to that. This ain't one of them type shows or conversations. So, Kina, what do you do in Spain? as a former Floridian, or as a Floridian no longer, what do you do in Spain? Do you work there? Do you work for an American company? Do you work for a company in Spain? For those of us who are, curious, asking for, 44 million friends or so, what do you do that?
So I got laid off from Tesla back it was 2022. I knew it was coming. At Tesla, actually, when you're in leadership, you know when your round of layoffs is coming. So I got laid off in June. Back, I think it was either February or March, there was a leadership meeting, and they made it clear that some people weren't going to be there in July. So I just felt that one coming for me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had told myself that I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. So blessedly, I started Tesla back in 2016 when getting the stock actually made a difference in your life. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that summer, the summer before I got laid off, we actually came to Spain and bought a house. So own a house, all cash. It's mine. Nobody's going to take it.
Wow.
And with that in mind, I'm not working for anybody. I'm working for myself. So I personally started a YouTube channel. It doesn't do much, but it earns me enough money that I don't need to work for anybody.
Somebody in the chat said they love your YouTube channel. So what is your YouTube channel?
I have two. The one that they probably watch is called Things Your Mom Should Have Told You. Ooh. And the other one's called Rico. Things Your Mom Should Have Told You is my answer to being a Black American living abroad, seeing everything happening, but not being able to affect anything.
Wow. Things your mom should have taught you. Okay, I'm looking it up right now.
Things your mom should have told you. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. All right, let me subscribe. All right, and then what's your other one? Rico, you said?
Rico, Asturico. And that's just me talking about that. It's what Things Your Mom Should Have Told You started out as. So it's me documenting my life as an American living in Spain.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. So you're living in Spain. You guys just had a whole massive power situation. How are you now? Did that impact you? How are you navigating that? And then what was happening in the dark? Like, was it like the purge? Because I didn't see a whole lot of reports of violence. Or was it like, I did see there were reports that people were out at cafes. I haven't been to Spain in decades. So what happened? And I remember the lovely cafes, the beauty in the parts of Spain that we were in. But talk to us. What did you see? What were you experiencing? Were you on a train when it all went out? What happened?
I was at home. I was actually editing a video, and I actually made a video about this. It's funny. And I got a lot of flack from Spaniards about the video because they were upset that I didn't talk about how lovely the Spaniards were. There was no looting. Everybody just relaxed and lived their lives. And, you had a beer or you had a glass of wine and you had lunch and you extended your lunch. And frankly, the blackout was during the day. So everybody was chill. It was fantastic. I live in a small town. We hopped on our scooters and went into town to check on people to see if anybody needed anything. Nice. Because we had power. We have solar. We have backup batteries. It did not affect my life at all.
You said, I'm not just buying a house in another country. I'm going to be self-sufficient. I got my own power. You are goals right now, sis. You are goals.
I mean, I'm prepared for whatever. Look, I see the fallout from the Ukraine. Those people live here now, right? I was going to. So when you come to Spain, they give you free classes to learn Spanish. So I was in my class to learn Spanish, and I was struggling because everybody's accent is Ukrainian.
Wow.
So like I see the fallout of everything that's happening around the world right here in this little place. And then on that video I made about the blackout, actually, I mentioned that Spain is, initially we thought It could have been, I don't know, one of Spain's adversaries. And Spain is on certain sides of political discussion. So, they wouldn't let US boats dock in the country because they were sending ammunition to Israel. They're
Wow.
on the side of
Spain came
Ukraine.
out pretty vociferously against what was happening in Gaza, if I recall correctly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So with this blackout, the right wing, they're like, oh, it's because the energy here is completely sustainable. Our energy here comes from wind, it comes from water, it comes from solar. And they're thinking, oh, it's because it's sustainable energy that caused the blackout. And in my mind, it's not. It's an adversary testing the waters.
So a couple of years ago, there was a number of incidents across this country of attacks against power grid weak points. And I think Rachel Maddow had done some coverage of it. I've seen, smatterings of coverages, but not nearly enough. And the idea that you can physically destroy a power grid station and thrust an entire region into a blackout. I remember I was talking about this on my show. I remember the blackout that we had here in New York City years ago when I was in law school. And that was, I knew all the lights was out because the lights went out. It was a similar thing. The lights went out during the daytime. It was summertime. I had on flip-flops, a jean skirt, and a tank top. And that's why to this day I do not leave my house without some sort of shoe that I could run in or walk for miles in, because I walked from West 4th Street to 42nd Street. And when I got to 42nd Street and I realized, oh snap, the lights are out here. And then it was darker in the evening and nothing came on. And when I realized Times Square, which is as bright as the midday afternoon at midnight, that's when I was like, this is not safe. Because I was expecting the purge, although New Yorkers, we showed up for each other. It was beautiful. But I was like, I lived on 156th Street. I'm not doing this. I went back to West 4th Street. But it was cool. But had it lasted longer than it did, it could have been a problem. It could have been a problem. But the idea of attacking a power grid, as I'm circling back to your point, the idea of attacking a power grid is something that has been worrisome for a number of international governing bodies because it's so easily done. And yeah. So is that the conversation that Spaniards are having right now about whether or not it was intentional or whether or not it's, we don't know. So what's the general nature of the conversation about what you all think is happening there?
We were at a cafe yesterday and my husband was having a conversation with somebody while he was paying, and the whole cafe stopped and agreed. And if you're right wing, they think that it's because we have sustainable energy here, but the bulk of the people that I've come across think it was something nefarious. And the government really hasn't spoken as to what actually happened.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That's insane. So what advice do you have for us here? For people who are thinking about it? I've gone from we gotta go to I ain't got nowhere to go. One of my family members called me just a couple of days ago. It's like, so when it all goes down, where are we going? I was like, I don't know. Canada says stay your American ass over there. I can't walk to Ghana. So what advice? What advice do you have for those of us who are here? And I'm laughing, but what advice do you have?
This isn't our first foray into fascism. If you look at all the Black Panther paraphernalia, they were talking about fascism. It's been a war for people who have brown in their skin forever.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, you just, protect your money, spend in your communities, stop sending our money to these people in Silicon Valley who are just going to take it and keep it for themselves. It never trickles down unless we consider trickle down to being standing under their balconies while they pee on us. That's the only way it gets back to us. So we just keep our money in our communities. No matter what color your community is, just keep it out of the hands of these billionaires, because at the end of the day, this is all about money. Yeah. This is all money. And if you keep your money to yourself, and if you're in a space where you're scared to lose your job or you're scared of something, you need to connect with the people around you. You have community is so important. Everybody wants to be an introvert. I'm an introvert, but damn it, do I have a community? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be connected with the people around you. And if you don't know the people around you, go find them, go meet them, because that's no longer an excuse. We have to be able to be there for each other, because when you can't pay your mortgage, somebody is going to take you in. But if you don't know anybody, there's nobody to take you in. And then you're homeless on the street. And then these people will come and gather you up and put you on whatever farm or in whatever sweatshop, and they will use you for the rest of your life. And that's what we can't have.
I wish I could say, girl, you scaring us, and it ain't. We're literally seeing it. Like I was saying the other day, and I put this in one of my podcast episodes. Like when you are unmarked, you are unidentified, you have no badge, nothing official, and you and a group of other people are snatching people up off the street and then incarcerating them and then selling them to another country where you're gonna have to work for the rest of your life. That's a slave trade. Like that is a slave trade. And like when you said they're gonna pick you up off the street and put you on a farm, that's already happened in America. Like and Marcus Garvey has this quote where he says, "What Africans have done, Africans can do." And child, let me tell you, when I was young and I learned that quote, that inspired me so much because I knew a lot about Africa. And I was like, what we have done, we can do. We built the pyramids. We created math and science. Yes, we did. But then I realized as I got older, that's not just true for us. It's true for anybody. What any people have done, any people can do. And the more I learn about what these people have done, child. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think we got some more folks. I just subscribed to your YouTube page. We got some folks who did. Y'all, and if you guys are in here and you have a YouTube channel, drop the link in the chat. So because people, I mean, we here, like you talking about community, and I know you were talking about community in real life. And community also happens in these sorts of spaces. Although I will caution, it's a different type of community. And I'm saying that because Facebook is now, they have studied how many friends we have culturally in America. And in America, the average is that you've got 3 friends on average, according to their report. And so they said that there's room in our lives for up to 15 friends. So they're creating fake AI friends for people, which to me is like the height of sadness. And because if you need the fake algorithmically driven computer friend because you don't have real community, I think, Kina, what you just said, like be in community with each other, be in like the physical community, in the physical world, even though what we're doing here is also important. But thank you for being with us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Gotta go look at it. Adios, amiga. Adios, adios. All right. Oh, Chardonnay is here. All right, hold on. Let me check the chat real quick. Make sure everybody's being nice. I had to block somebody really early on for those of you who joined a little late. And it was somebody that I thought I had blocked before. And somebody said I have 0 friends and I don't care. I mean, I guess that's a way to do it. That is a way to do it. I don't have a large number of friends. I have a small, close group of friends, but I'm a very low maintenance friend. I'm not one of them friends that need a whole lot. I don't need a whole lot of time. I don't need a whole lot of energy and attention. I'm a very low maintenance friend, but that can also backfire because if I have high maintenance friends in my life, I low maintenance my friendships because if my friendships are complicated, it's too much. There's a lot going on. So I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of people who I know, who, colleagues, comrades, but my friends, my friendship circle, I keep kind of close. But I definitely don't have 0. I feel I'm curious as to why 0, but it may be for good reason. And we never know. Sometimes people are sent to this world for a purpose where being a solo person matters. So that works. All right, hold on. I'm checking the chat. Yes, people are signing up to things your mom should have taught you. Do something about the title of the stream. It's called Let's Talk. Do we need a title? Everything is so titled. It's just Let's Talk. The title of the stream. We'll figure it out. Okay, somebody said, okay. The person who said 0 friends, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, that makes more sense. All right. Chardonnay, welcome. Somebody else in the chat said they don't have any friends. We should do a conversation about that. Oh, I just removed you accidentally. We should do a
Hi, can you hear me?
Not romantic but platonic relationships. That would be an interesting one.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a lot of sound, a lot of
I'm
air.
sorry. I'm in my car. I was in the gym, but I had to come back because you told me. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Miss Laurie. Sorry.
Morning. Good
I had
morning.
to come back because I saw that you were live, and I totally forgot you had told me to come back to this live.
Hold on though. Hold on 1 second. Can you turn your volume down just a little bit?
Is it better?
It might just be, it might be my computer.
Let me try. Can you hear me now? I turned it down. I can put my headphone in.
Okay.
See if that'll work.
Okay. Somebody else said turn down just a little bit. Yes, because it is doing a thing. There's an official phrase for it. I don't know what it's called. Somebody said it sounded like you're speaking from a Burger King microphone.
Hello, is this better?
Oh my, yes. Hi.
Okay.
That's so much better. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Or afternoon, wherever you're at. I agree. And thanks, Miss Kina, for coming on the live. I also follow. I think I follow both of your YouTube channels actually,
Nice.
and I wholeheartedly love her channels. I follow a lot of expats. I'm in that genre of highly successful Black women who are opting out of HR and just what's that called, corporate America, and they're taking their money, their intellect, and their skills and investing it in themselves, and sometimes that leads them to living outside of America or just fully online entrepreneurial to where they are like contractors. So if you're a highly skilled Black person in general, I think it still could be applicable to men as well. But if you're a highly skilled Black person, meaning, you have some sort of trade, or maybe you have your graduate degree and you have all those skills and your work environment is hostile, I definitely would advise y'all to like subscribe to those YouTube channels. They're out there. I can't name them off the top of my head, but it's really good because we're going to need that for the next stage of how things are going to go in the future. And I understand what you were saying about the moving part. And I heard what you said when you first said it about I don't have nowhere for us to go. And I was always like, I hear you. However, I feel like when other people move into this country, when they're escaping certain regimes, we don't see them as colonizers. We see them as people who are seeking refuge from tyranny, essentially. And so if that's what that's going to be, I think a lot of times too, when you don't live outside of America, you don't know how a lot of people view us. When I was in Europe, when George Floyd got shot, I can't tell you, and I was working with a lot of different Europeans from different European countries. I cannot tell you, and they are guilty of racism. Don't get it twisted. There's nowhere on this planet that you're going to be able to escape racism and anti-Blackness, even if you're on the continent, right?
That's right.
However, the level of safety that you get in Europe and sometimes Asian countries, unmatched. The food quality, but also how they view this outward, overt version of racism that we get here and we experience here. They were like, why is this still an issue in America? Like, why are y'all still dealing with, do you not know, like, our police don't even have guns. There's like a specialized unit that comes out that has to, and their police officers get trained for years, like 2 years. They just they can't even wrap their head around why we still have the type of racism that we have here. It's not to say they don't have it there, but I mean, if you honestly want to, you probably could just ignore a lot of it or just work to improve the systems that are already there that they're working through. So I say all that to say, even if you can't afford to move as a Black person, try to get your passport, save up to get your passport, and try to travel. Even if you can't afford to live there or even move, try to travel outside the US. One, it'll help you decide on if you need to get up and bounce real quick. We're not all just congregating to one spot, creating a headache. Because I do understand what you're saying too. Because now, if we all move to one country, we're weighing on their systems. So that also gives you a chance to figure out which countries you might be interested on based on your own family needs, but it also let you experience how life is outside the US. There's so much more to the world than the US. And I want my people to be free of the shackles of thinking or falling for American excellence. Because it's really not that excellent. The education system, the healthcare system, there wouldn't be, I don't have the stats, but I highly doubt that there would be a health industry like tourism, whatever, in Mexico and Turkey and South America like the way it does if we as a people if we could get the type of healthcare that we're paying
Right.
for and that we deserve.
Right.
So when you go experience outside of America, you're going to see that safety, a lot of times, safety is not like, some places, they don't even lock their doors. Now, that's OD to me.
Yeah.
But you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
say all that to say, when stuff hit the fan, I think we should just be prepared and do your research on places. Even if you can't afford to even travel, just do your research. Do your research. Ask around, ask other people, connect with other people outside of the US if you can. WhatsApp is a huge app for that, if you didn't know. You can message people internationally on WhatsApp. There's other apps that people use from international places all the time. Connect. If you see somebody from your job who's from Africa or South America, if they're not, on that type of time, reach out, befriend them, ask them, make those types of connections because you're going to need them. Heck, even the connections I made with my European counterparts, I have lost because I'm like, I'm never going to see them again. And now here I am like, ugh, should maintain those connections, So
so I love hearing what you're saying, because I think if more of us were at least considering what it would look like, that to me would feel like a healthier approach than just sort of having our heads in the sand as if, navigating this is the only option. And so part of my challenge when I say I don't have a place for 44 million of us to go is that, one, having been an American who has lived abroad, I was born in Germany because my parents were in the military. I graduated high school in Germany. We came back and forth to the States regularly. There was a period we lived in Washington State for a while. So I have memories of being a child in the United States and memories of being a child of the United States in other countries. And I'm going to say this, my American massive, with love. But even though we are Black, we move through the world like Americans. And what that means is, as bad as it is here, it is bad within we have an American, I got my rights. I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to do what I got to do. It's a very individual way to living. The rest of the world, at least the parts of it that I've been exposed to, don't move like that. And so when Americans come through, there's a stereotype, the loud, ignorant American. And the ignorant, we just sort of,
with money
out.
though. With
Yes.
money. That's why they tolerate us with money. But now that we ain't got no money,
right.
They're gonna be less tolerant.
So being a Black American in Germany, for example, we got treated better because we were Americans than did African immigrants in Germany.
True. That's true.
All the Blacks, there's gradations to the international racism because you're right, because it's everywhere. There's levels to this shit. And so, like, depending on where your Blackness was colonized, it's going to indicate where you are at in the hierarchy of the passports.
It's the passport.
So I've found that whenever I have seen groups of, not always, but there are many times that when you see groups of Black Americans who have gathered in another country, there is oftentimes also a question about how they are integrating with that country. Are they there as Americans who happen to be Black, or are they there as Black people who are escaping what we're escaping here? And it's the nuance there.
That's valid. That's valid. That's very valid. That's very valid, because being in the military, prior military, is valid. There'd be times where I'd be a little embarrassed. I'd be real embarrassed, actually. Not a little bit, a lot of bit. I'd be a lot of bit embarrassed, because I'd be like, I know y'all ain't showing y'all 2 butt cheeks out here in front of this. And then it's not to like, say you got to act a certain way.
No.
But sometimes decency is what I'm talking about. And not knowing the culture, or not caring to even know about the culture. Be like,
you use the word decency.
I'll give an example.
Go ahead.
Overseas, if you have a large party, they do not split the check, baby. Y'all better cash app somebody. Huh? And that's the thing here. I'm not paying for your extra avocado. Okay, fine. We'll just split the check. That's not a thing over there. Not like that. Sometimes they'll be gracious, they understand, and in some places they're like, no, we're not cutting, we're not doing all that. It's 20 people. You want me to? We're not doing that.
And then
And there'll be times where we show our 2 butt cheeks. What you mean you ain't splitting the check? Come on now. You already knew this. You've been living here for a little minute. You know they're not doing that. Why you feeling stress in your chest? You know that.
So you use the word decency. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Coretha Mitchell. Brilliant sister. She's amazing. She has this concept called know your place aggression. I highly recommend anybody who loves just good scholarship from our people. Look at what Dr. Coretha, it's Koritha, Coretha Mitchell. She has this concept that also talks about the fact that Americans do not have decency as a part of their heritage, as a part of their birthright. And decency is something that like is a cultural thing. And in this society, as whether you black, white, whatever, once you are enculturated as an American, decency is not something that Americans really do. So when you travel, we sort of carry that with us in a way that's, you know, but whether you're going to travel or not, I think, Chardonnay, to your point, please, if you can save up to get a passport, please consider doing so, because the reality is without a passport, you can't leave, right? Well, without a passport, if you cross them borders without a passport, now, you know how they say migrants or undocumented people who cross in here are illegal, quote unquote, and they use that term very disparagingly. You can't leave the country without a passport. Like you can't, it's not that you can have a real ID, it's not going to get you across the borders. You physically cannot get on a plane, train, automobile, walk outside of the confines of these United States if you don't have a passport, at least under the current configuration of the government. So it would be a damn shame to, and not that having a passport is going to guarantee you safe passage, but it's going to at least allow you to have a doorway open for you, that you just, so if you can, I just encourage people to consider try to save up to get a passport, get your family. If your children are under 18, their passports only last for 5 years. So you know, obviously think about that. You got to renew it. But just, yeah, very much consider it. Chardonnay, any final comment? Because I'm looking at the clock and I said we're going to do this for an hour, and my daughter's got dance convention later today, so I'm about to transition back into mamahood.
I did have a comment because it was really coming back for sinners, and my final comment will be about, my final comment about sinners is this, because I finally got to where I'm at. I personally love me some Ryan Coogler. And I love me some Michael B. Jordan. So it's not because I'm out here just a hater. Personally, I feel like, hear me out. We listen, but we don't judge. I feel like Black Panther 2 did not get the respect that Sinners was supposed to get. Because all the dissecting and the mental math that y'all are doing, the symbolism, the this, the that, y'all are really breaking it all the way down, and y'all paid Black Panther 2 dust.
What do you think? What message out of Black Panther 2 do you think we should have paid more attention to that didn't get all the attention?
I think it was all the same things. It was just a better production, in my opinion.
Okay.
Just because it had the Marvel bag. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also it was focused more on Afrofuturism. And I think there's an interplay between the diaspora, and I mean that movie been out for, I don't know, 3-4 years now, so I'm gonna ruin it, spoiler. But if you look at the end of the movie, the little boy, their newfound sanctuary was Haiti.
Yeah. The
little boy's name was Toussaint.
Right.
If you know anything about the first free Black Republic, Toussaint Louverture.
Right.
Connect those dots. Wearing all white to a funeral. There was a lot of symbolism that I just felt like nobody cared about. People just paid that movie dust. And I know some people were like, well, the superhero in the end was a white CIA. I was like, I didn't see him being a superhero at all. I just saw him as being doing whatever he does. But he's not playing a major role. And I just feel like with Sinners, it focused more on the past, which is cool too. But I just think there was a lot of things in the movie that just wasn't as like.
So I would say that I can see the tension with Black Panther too. Don't come on screen, honey bun. I don't. Sorry, my daughter is like, Mom, what are we doing?
No, you're fine.
give mommy like 5 minutes, and then did you eat the food that I put out? Okay, go. Go and shut the door, please. Don't know, because if you go over there, you're gonna knock over the camera. Little girl. And don't be hitting them with the giggle either. Shut the door. Jiminy Christmas on the cracker. These kids. All right, I'm gonna just say this real quick.
Right.
Black Panther 2, I think the difference in people not seeing the spiritual messaging there that they did here, the connection to the Black church to me was way more explicit in Sinners. And so because futurism requires us to sort of think beyond what we're currently navigating, I feel like Sinners was one of the first recent films. I'm trying to think of one other that has done it in previously that made a connection between, and even if you don't know what the connection is, like you were aware that there was, because that opening scene when he sees the preacher, his daddy, and the vampire eyes at the same time, I was like, oh, it's the church. It's a conversation. So it was so much more explicit, the spiritual questions in Sinners. Whereas I think the futuristic component of Black Panther 2 lent it to a different type of analysis. And I think people got caught up on the tensions between the indigenous and Black people in that film that you don't necessarily see in Sinners. There's indigenous, there's Black people, but they don't have that same thing. But you know, you reminded me, I forgot it's what we're supposed to be talking about today. We're supposed to be talking about Sinners. So I'm going to come, I've told myself the first and the third Saturday of the month.
Okay.
And do that. So on the next Saturday that we come back, we will have a conversation about Sinners, and it's coming back. So by that time, everybody should have seen it. And by that point, it'll probably have been discussed into the dust. So we may not even want to, but I will hold space for the next time we gather on a Saturday for us to have that conversation. Chardonnay, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And keeping us updated and giving us some insight. Everybody who joined us today, thank you all for being here. I'm so not playing with you. These kids. All right. First Saturday and the third Saturday of the month, I will be back here for this month. And maybe that will change in June. I don't know. But for May, the first Saturday and the third Saturday of the month. I really appreciate y'all. This is kind of fun. Don't forget the Larry Breaks It Down podcast, which really a new episode Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2 p.m. every week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week at 2 p.m. The show, I will see y'all at SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. And thank y'all. This was fun. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Oh, wait, hold on. There was some of y'all who did the extra super love and the super thanks and appreciation. I want to thank all of you. I'm trying to scroll so I can call you by name, child. I'm trying to call you by name. TMFJ, you stay consistently supporting. I'm grateful for that. Blockavelli, that's an interesting name. Blockavelli, shout out to you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And to everybody who thought it not robbery to support the work that we're doing here. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll see y'all back on Monday. Yes, on Monday. Stay good. After I get this girl back to this convention, I'm going to be back in this garden. So hopefully my shoulder situation will stay worked out. We'll be good to go. But go plant something. Go grow something and go hug somebody with their consent. All right. Love y'all. Gotta go. Have a great weekend. Bye.